Alright guys, it's been a minute since we've talked about Microsoft, and I just want to kind of touch on a few things that we've talked about in the past before we move on to what's currently going on today. So of course, we have discussed this inclusion toolkit essentially that they put out earlier this year to help game developers be more inclusive and accessible to people with, disabilities or different pronoun use or whatever. We've seen stuff with the developers being told not to use gendered terminology. I'm not even kidding. Like when writing code and stuff, don't use words like master or slave. All sorts of crazy shit. And this has just been embedded into what is now the current agenda at diversifying developing, if you will. And of course, Microsoft is at the forefront of this. They're trying to push all the DEI crap into developing, and has led to, as we've seen over the last 6 months to a year, massive layoffs, studios getting closed down, all sorts of crap that's just hitting the fan for Microsoft. And again, much like Ubisoft, much like any other company that's embracing this garbage, they've done it to themselves. They have only themselves to blame. But that doesn't change the fact that, unfortunately, many storied franchises like Halo have been heavily affected by all this nonsense. And of course, not too long ago, we actually had a video I put out talking about this person who's a producer for the Halo series that said, I honestly don't think I could work on a game that glorifies or fantasizes modern guns. I've had moments I've struggled with Halo, but the weapons and world is pretty sci-fi, which creates a large enough separation from reality. These are people who have no business working on a video game that has any form of violence, shooting, aliens, lasers, sci-fi, whatever. They should say that as far away from as possible, create like cozy farm games. But of course, things are going to be better now. Everything's fixed. Halo Infinite was a one-off, everything's going to get better because now they are rebranding 343 Studios. They are renaming themselves to Halo Studios. So everything's fixed now, guys. Don't worry. They're now going to be using Unreal Engine 5 as well. So, hey, everything's saved. Kelsey on Twitter here points out that now we had 343 Studios with, of course, the android-looking Mark Zuckerberg, and now we've got the real-life Zuckerberg, and it's Halo Studios. So, hey, all of a sudden, they're like normal people, right? No. So they put out this video. It's actually not even getting ratioed too badly. It's basically a new look at the Halo Studios that is replacing, in air quotes, replacing 343. And I want you guys to focus on the first 3 people in this video. I'm only going to play about a minute or so of it. There's 3 people we're going to talk about today who are at the very beginning of this video.
There's so much to do and so much fun to be had when you play Halo that I feel like I never run out of things to do.
Okay, this person here, Melissa Boone, is the chief of staff. Okay, this is person number 1. We're going to talk about her last.
I love intricate stories that take place across lots of different worlds, have lots of different meaningful characters.
What made...
Again, focus on that. Lots of different worlds, lots of different meaningful characters. Diversity, okay?
Halo successful at the beginning? What is the legacy of Halo, and what's the soul that we want to bring forward, and what's the craft of making Halo games?
This is Elizabeth Van Wyck, the Chief Operating Officer. So this is person number 2.
And how do we set our studio at best to go deliver on that?
We knew we had to make a change in order to take us into the future.
When I first heard...
And that was Casey Wu, the executive producer at Halo Studios. Now, without playing any more of this video, you guys can go listen to it for yourselves. There's not really a whole lot to extrapolate from this, other than these are 3 people who are having a heavy influence. They are very much in charge behind the scenes at Halo Studios. Casey Wu. Not a whole lot about her. Her LinkedIn doesn't even have a photograph of her, but she says she's an energetic and happy executive producer at 343 Industries, which again is now known as Halo Studios. Even though most of my career has been spent partnering with leads to build out tools, content developers, pipelines, and workflows, I enjoy working in all areas of video game development. To me, it's all about the people who make up the teams, and I'm incredibly lucky to have worked with and learned from some of this industry's best. Now, what I find fascinating is Halo and 343 Industries and everything else have been in a really rough... I'd say like a really bad go of things for a while now. They have been in a bit of a rut, if you will. And you can see that she's been working there for actually 10 years now, January 2014 to now. So over 10 years, going on 11 years. And that has been through some of the worst times that Halo as a franchise has ever had. Ironically, this is the same person who was part of a panel for the Open World's Women and Diversity in Gaming panel. And of course, the description of this panel was, the game development industry struggles with workplace diversity. On July 24th, 4 female game developers discussed their experience. Let's level up. Despite the expected cliches and tropes, the truth is that gamers, from console to mobile to tabletop, belong to one of the most diverse, variegated groups around. 45% of gamers are women. Not true. And people of color spend more time playing than anyone. Diversity has already been proven to have a positive effect on companies and innovation. I beg to differ. Again, this was probably written back in, 2019. So why is the game design and development industry having a hard time catching up? God, this is prophetic. This was 5 years ago, guys. This is absolutely brilliant. Join us on July 24th at Open World's Women in Diversity in Gaming, where our expert panelists will talk about their experiences in innovating a traditionally male-dominated space and how they're lighting the way for the next generation of game design and development. And look at the situation we're in right now with AAA gaming. Okay, now we're on to Elizabeth Van Wyck, the COO of the Halo franchise at Microsoft. All right, so she's got a lot of experience too. She's been at Microsoft for 10 years also. Interesting, 10 years and 4 months, hired right around the same time as the executive producer. Very interesting. Of course, she has a nice list of places she's worked, all of them connected to Microsoft. But again, she was part of a panel at AnyKey. AnyKey has this event, Paving the Path for Women in Esports. We had so many great folks attending from industry and university and a truly inspiring set of speakers, of which she was one of them, sitting right there on the panel. And of course, AnyKey is very much about the inclusion and diversity. And of course, you can see in their description here, they even have classes, guides on Inclusion 101. Learn how to build a diverse and inclusive gaming group. Our materials are designed to help both players and organizers develop practical skills in allyship, bystander intervention, media representation, and more. Yes, because this has a lot to do with esports. Okay. Then we get to Melissa Boone, the chief of staff at Halo Studios. Now, again, a lot of people might not be thinking that this is a big deal, just simply being chief of staff. But just bear with me here for a second. Just do a basic Google search, like definition of chief of staff. What do they do? Chief of staff is a leader who supports and advises executive leaders, manages projects and initiatives across an organization. You can see here it says, duties include managing and directing programs, facilitating communication between departments, providing administrative and strategic support to the executive team, and managing the day-to-day activities of personnel. The COS is often seen as the CEO's right-hand person. They build trust-based relationships with the CEO, other executives, and employees. Chief of staff's a pretty big deal, okay? Pretty significant. Now, of course, Melissa Boone has her own list of accolades, but hers are far more out in the open, we shall say. Of course, you start off with the, Pride banner. I think this is like the diversity Pride banner. It's got like the brown and the black on there, I think. So I think that's kind of like the modern Pride flag, if you will. Hi, currently I'm the chief of staff at Halo Studios, the stewards of the Halo franchise. My role is to ensure the smooth running of our studio. It includes a bit of everything. I'm a problem solver, a process builder, strategic thinker, an executor, an integrator, a communicator, and an advisor. Basically, this is the best job for someone with a lot of interest who likes to stay busy and possess a healthy passion for military science fiction games and lore. I mean, that all sounds good, right? So far, so good. Before I became chief of staff at Halo, I was a games user, researcher, and research manager on the Xbox research team at Microsoft, and we'll get into that in a second. I used my expertise in human behavior, social interaction, and designing and conducting behavioral research to provide insight on user needs and preferences for Xbox products spanning across games, devices, and platform software. Now, again, anytime someone says that they are part of behavior research, I start to pause and go, wait a second, what are you doing involved in video game research and development? But then, of course, you get down here to her list of experience. When she was the principal UX research manager at Microsoft from 2019 to 2023, she managed a team of researchers covering many of Xbox first-party games, services, and devices. Worked on a little bit of everything, keenly invested in research on diversity and inclusive design and efforts to bring more diverse voices into the gaming industry. From 2015 to 2019, she was a user researcher, member of the Xbox research team where I support game development by providing insight into the user experience through research. In this role, I was the project research lead on titles like Halo and Minecraft series or franchises. I spearheaded and led research work on diversity and inclusion in the gaming industry and supported several teams across Xbox to drive inclusion into our games and services. Then, of course, she was at Pennsylvania State University where she got her postdoctoral research fellowship. And of course, it was in the Prevention and Methodology Training Program at Penn State's Methodology Center and Prevention Research Center. Used advanced statistical techniques to conduct research into substance abuse risk, factors, and prevention. She used her research to focus on the intersection between drug use and HIV risk factors in communities of color. I mean, guys, And in some capacity, these might all be admirable things, I guess, if you're into all that kind of stuff. But what the hell does that have to do with working as a chief of staff at Xbox? And this is her bio that Kabrutus found from when she was the Xbox research manager prior to being the chief of staff. Her About Me reads, Melissa joined Xbox Research in the summer of 2015. After earning her BA in psychology from Spelman College in 2008, she went on to complete her PhD in social psychology and public health from Columbia University. Her research in public health focused on how people's social interactions influence their risk for HIV and substance abuse. Again, why is this person working at Microsoft? Particularly with African Americans and Latinx folks, LGBTQ plus people and women, but also how these people's personal resilience could be developed and supported to help them avoid poor health outcomes. Melissa did a stunt conducting market research in video games, which was so fun it inspired her to make the leap to the games world. Currently, Melissa manages research across several Xbox franchises and experiences, including Ninja Theory, Compulsion Games. Now, I'm going to stop right there. Let's talk about Compulsion Games and Ninja Theory. Compulsion Games is the one that had the community manager who has gone protected mode and actually blocked many of us. You can see I'm actually blocked by this psychotic person. And she had declared hatred of gamers and said that white male gamers were a mistake. It was this person that was the community manager for this game, South of Midnight, that again is got this race-swapped character and had connections to, I believe, Sweet Baby Inc. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I could be remembering this game wrong, but I'm pretty sure Compulsion is on the list of Sweet Baby-influenced games. Of course, I mentioned, Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory, which put out Hellblade 2, which was a massive... It was a completely opposite end of the spectrum, in my personal opinion, from where Hellblade 1 started, which was a very cool psychological thriller, had a lot of great characters and well-developed story. The second game was just a girl boss bunch of BS, and boring as hell. I played through it on stream. It was the worst stream game I've probably ever played. It was so bad. But again, that's where her experience lies, okay? And of course, you can see also she says that she worked at Double Fine Studios, the Xbox store, also leads research in diversity, inclusion, and accessibility across Xbox games and experiences with a focus on making Xbox a place where everyone has fun. Well, we're not having fun these days. And just a quick scan at her social media profiles at Twitter, you can see 90% of what she puts out is just retweeting stuff about diversity, Joe Biden, we get down here to Kamala Harris, there's a tweet about the Black Supreme Court Justice, Cory Booker, Trayvon Martin, and it's like, okay, you're allowed to have your political opinion, don't get me wrong. But it seems to be of the little bit that she posts, about half of what she puts out is complete politicized BS. So, of course, Endymion tweets, so 343 Industries is now Halo Studios, and this is their chief of staff. Remember when I told you guys these companies have no intention of changing their ways and will simply market their games to appeal to you while still being nonsense? Looks like Microsoft hasn't learned a damn thing, have they? The work continues. And then Smash JT pointing out that the Halo series developer 343 Industries has been renamed Halo Studios. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Meat possibly. And again, I think the colored hair is always the dead giveaway. And it's really sad because I think that colored hair could be really cool if done right, but it's always the same people. The nose rings, the colored hair, the shaved side head, all the same thing. So I'm going to leave it right there, guys. Do you have any faith in 343, now known as Halo Studios, moving forward? I think Halo's dead. It's a dead franchise. Let it be what it's always been. If people still enjoy playing Halo, that's great. I still love Halo. It is a slower paced game, but that's part of the beauty of it. But please stop making new Halo games. I'm done, okay? No more Halo games. Anyways, guys, I'm going to leave it right there. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about all this, and I will catch you on the next one. All right, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.